Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today we're going to be taking a drive in this Audi e-tron, the Big Mac Daddy E55. I think they're 55, they call it something like that. This is Alyssa's car, her personal car, and I want to learn a little bit about her EV journey. Why did she buy this car? What did she like? What do we got going on behind me here? We've got an ID4 over here. We've got what else do we have? We have a Audi e-tron, Q4 e-tron over there. But today we're going to be talking with Alyssa about her EV journey, getting to know her story. So saddle up, let's get into it, folks. Here we have Alyssa's Q4. No, that isn't her e-tron. What am I talking about, Alyssa? Let's go over to the real Audi e-tron here. Tell me a little bit about this car.
So this is literally my favorite car that I've ever had. But then again, when I was growing up, I was driving a 97 Honda Civic. So this is a huge difference. I absolutely love this car. It's a 2019 Audi e-tron Prestige with the massaging seats, of course. Kyle helped me get this, so of course we had to get the Prestige. Absolutely love it. Right now it's been my dog hauler, believe it or not, which a lot of you might cringe at that, but cars are meant to be used, and that is my sole purpose, and that's a lot of what I do with my life is dog rescue, and the two that you can see in the window over there this is our car, and I love it. So yeah.
That's awesome. So now, where did you get this car, and how long have you had it?
I got it in Connecticut. We actually flew out to see you.
I remember.
And ended up buying this car and driving it all the way back here. And I think we got it back in May.
Something like that.
Something
and you went,
like that.
but before you came out here, didn't you took it on a road trip to North Carolina?
Right, yeah, we drove it down to go see my parents.
Just
just
a little side trip to North Carolina, and then out to Cal. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So why don't we hop in?
Okay.
I want to hear a little bit about that road trip, and I also want to hear a little bit about your EV journey. How did you end up in this car, which I know is going to be a great story. So.
How did I end up in EVs? Yes.
Yeah. How did you end up in EVs? There you go. So let's jump inside. All right. Well, listen, Alyssa, this should be fun. I don't know how much time I've actually spent one-on-one with you, but
I know.
But listen, I'm actually curious to hear about your journey to this beautiful car, which, by the way, is absolutely fantastic. You could start driving.
Yeah.
And but before we go to this car and how you got here, I want to find out a little bit about like you as a kid. What did you think, like when you were growing up, what did you think of cars? And first, you grew up where? In North Carolina, right?
Born and raised in North Carolina. I'm a Southern girl.
So if you wanted to get that drawl going,
the drawl can easily come out.
It can come out, but you're not going to show it. Is that what I'm?
I mean, you gotta buy a couple drinks before the.
Oh, is that okay? I understand. So she can be bought. All right. Yes, so we know that. All right, that's good news. But I mean, when you were a kid, what did you think about cars?
No interest at all.
No interest at all?
None. I was hugely into athletics. My life was surrounded by athletics. I played volleyball in college. I traveled 4 hours just to go to practice when I was a kid growing up. And so that was my life growing up.
So a car was just to get you from point A to point B?
Oh yeah, I thought a car that just runs well, has a decent stereo. I mean, I honestly have had no care for cars. I think my first car was a 97 Honda Civic, and I had that all the way. I had two 97 Honda Civics. One I totaled when I was 16, because
oh boy,
what 16-year-old doesn't total their car?
Oh boy. Were you okay?
I was completely okay. It was actually somebody wasn't using their turn signal when turning, and I was on my way to my final, and somebody rear-ended me and totaled the back of it. I mean, it was like a $2,000 car, so it's not hard to total.
Did you take the test?
I did, and I think I did fine, but I actually had a mild concussion.
Oh no.
And but
Oh boy.
I passed high school and college, so
There you go.
it's all good.
So you got that out of the way.
Right.
So because you totaled a Honda Civic, you got another one.
We got another one.
Okay, well that makes sense. You know.
Then we got Gloria. Gloria, she is now in. We sold her before we moved out here.
Wait, can I just say, if you say you don't care about cars, and you named a car,
yes,
I challenge you on that. No one who doesn't care about cars names a car.
I care about the things I own.
Okay, that's fair.
All of my family members, we've all named our cars. My sister's car's name's Herbert. We had Pearl. I mean, it's just something we always did.
Right.
And Gloria was just an old crazy bat, and that's why we called her Gloria. And she had a little Hispanic spin on her as well. So that's how
What kind of car was it?
She was also a
I'm sorry, not it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
She
I
was
understand.
a 97 Honda Civic as well.
Oh,
okay. She was green. She was
green.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you get a discount because it was green?
No.
I'm sorry.
No. I think my parents actually got her in Asheville. She was in mint condition, and they bought it for I think $2,000.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It was never used. It was owned by an older lady who just literally kept it in her driveway and kept up with oil changes and all that stuff. So
right.
It was a good buy. My mom's a huge bargain hunter. If you guys watch any reviews, you've seen her.
Your
on
mom's
there.
hysterical. I love her. She's got the ID4. She throws the miles on that puppy, like a lot.
She's not afraid to drive.
No,
it.
she's not afraid to drive. As a matter of fact, she called me up about a month and a half ago, and she's like, "Hey, Dave, I really kind of like your Ioniq 5. What do you think? Should I get one?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." But I don't know where. That's another story for another day. But
right.
Yeah, your mom is she's very. Your mom is very calm and sheltered and very, very, very does not speak her mind at all. So and we love that about her.
Oh no, yeah, she definitely is not. Yeah, she is very quiet.
Yes.
No, love mom. Hey mom, I'm sure you'll watch this. But yeah, I mean, we've actually, like, growing up, my mom always had a new lease. Every single year she had a new car. So that was kind of like our thing. Oh, you got a new Passat. Oh, you got a new punch buggy. She was very into, Volkswagen and stuff like that. So,
right.
I mean, it makes sense that she now has an ID4. She's just circled back, but that was really it. I mean, my dad was a construction worker. He still is, and so he always had the big red truck. And
right.
And then we had our minivan, which that was hilarious. I forget what kind of minivan it was, but my mom owned a business for screen printing and embroidery. And I'll have to find a picture, so we'll insert it right here for you guys.
I'll definitely insert it.
Because it had the ugliest, creepiest looking dinosaur logo on it for her business that we drove around as kids before we all got our own car.
Right.
And it was kind of like our name of shame before actually getting our own nice car, which, I mean, we're always appreciative of any car that we get, but that was, driving around that minivan was horrible. It was horrible.
So now you graduate college, and you're still driving Gloria.
I am still driving Gloria, and then I met your son.
Yeah, so I understand that I got a call. I remember I got a call one day from Kyle, and he said, "Dad, I took Ellie out to the dog park today."
Yep.
And Ellie met a friend. Ellie met Blue. And then he kind of tossed in there that he also met Blue's owner.
Yes.
Which would happen to be you.
Me. Yes.
Yes.
So we met at a dog park. Not a dog park, it was just a park that we both went to and walked our dogs.
Okay.
And we just crossed each other, and Blue and Ellie just automatically started playing. We'll also enter a very adorable picture of the first day they met right here.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Because they were super cute. And then it's just kind of been history since. And he hated my car. That was the one thing he didn't like about me, was my car.
Oh, no.
So that eventually, I think what kind of happened within the spiel, my first EV technically was the smart car.
Okay.
When Kyle just decided, I mean, the muffler was like off of my car. I mean, it was just, I didn't care. I mean, I was just driving it to go to school,
right,
to go to work and back, and he was just like, no, this isn't safe enough, but I'm gonna put you in a smart car because that's safer.
The roll, the cage in the smart car is just, you might, you know, blunt force, you know, right. You know, you may have other issues, but
right.
that's a strong cage in that car.
Yeah,
right?
When I told my parents about that, they're like, what? Like that car? So
can I get this straight? So you're telling me that Kyle had an opinion on a car? Is that what you're saying? Because I didn't know that was. All right, we'll keep going now. Just I had to throw that in there, you know, just a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely. And then I pretty much drove the smart car because I think I was still taking some classes because I did want to go to grad school. That's a whole different story.
Right.
Ended up not going to grad school. Moved to Australia instead.
I remember that.
And
yes.
So if I needed to go long distance, I would have just driven the Model 3 that we had at that point. But where I was going, all I needed was the little smart car to get to point A to point B. And I had chargers where I went to school, so I would just always plug in. And then...
And this is, you were living where?
In Raleigh.
In Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay, right.
And then Kyle finally convinced me to get the i3.
Oh, I remember the i3.
So we got the i3.
I remember when you did the video on the i3 and you're like, okay, and here it is, right? That was the big reveal. That was fun. I remember that, yeah.
So that was technically my first ever big girl car purchase, was the i3. And I really loved the car. It had a great aspect of everything, but in the end, you know, you grow up a little bit. I need to drive more than 100 miles to go somewhere if I wanted to go somewhere.
Did you have the range extender on that one?
Had the range extender.
Okay.
And I might have once ran out of both electricity and gas at the same time.
So you ran out of electricity
and gas.
And gas.
Mm-hmm.
Was I there for that?
I'm sure you were told the story because Kyle told everybody.
When we moved? So I remember when we took I drove the U-Haul out to help you guys move from Raleigh out here.
That was a little bit before U-Haul days. I think we were still living in Raleigh.
But didn't the i3 run out of fuel and also electric on the way out? I'm pretty sure it did.
Probably. Well, within my story, I was taking Blue to a training session, and it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere, North Carolina.
Okay, this is different.
Yeah, so I totally forgot that the car needed premium gas, and premium gas in the middle of North Carolina is not a thing.
Right.
And Kyle always just kind of harked on me that that's what I needed to put in, so I was scared to put in any other type of gas, even though I could have done that. And then I ended up on the side of the road in front of somebody's house, and AAA came, or no, I had BMW support at that point.
Yeah, right.
So he came out with a tank of gas, the 5 gallons, and didn't even fill it up.
No, that thing took what, 1.2 gallons, and
we extended it, so it was the full 2.5.
You modded it.
We modded it.
Yes, I know. I remember that. That was always fun. Kyle would find, I have this guy in California that's gonna like hot wire into our laptop. We're gonna plug it into the OB2, and he's gonna wire I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Oh no, this guy's great. And by the way, he was good.
He was.
I know he was, because I had a couple of i3s and he did my cars as well.
Yeah.
And you ended up getting, I think it was 2.4 gallons of gas in that, as opposed to whatever it was, 1.9.
Yep. And then the lane assist too.
That's right.
He turned it up to like be able to work at like 99 miles
I know, that was sketchy.
Yeah, that did not work.
No, that was sketchy.
I never played around too much with that. That was a Kyle Connor thing that he just liked to play around.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we moved out here, and you helped us drive that car. Or no, we did. We drove that car all the way out.
We drove it out.
Yeah.
What did we we flatbedded the smart car, right? And that was, so we were towing. We had a trailer behind the U-Haul,
right,
with the smart car on it. And this isn't about that trip, but I never will forget driving that U-Haul, whatever 24-footer full.
Oh, through the Virginia mountains.
Virginia mountains with the wind, right? And I
Yeah.
was freaking out. I was like white knuckle driving this
Yeah.
thing. And meanwhile, you're in Kyle's Model 3, like gone,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Kyle's driving the i3. Hey, who knows what he's doing? He's working the phones, and I'm scared for my life driving this truck.
Yeah, we were all just cruising, and meanwhile you're behind there, and
so
just,
stressful.
We saw the truck just swaying.
It was just I could do nothing to keep that thing straight.
right.
But
yeah, that was a journey within itself.
Yeah.
But honestly, that car really is an amazing car.
Yeah.
It is just not for your only sole purpose car.
right.
So then we sold it to you, and you had it for a little bit for your little, in between cars.
In between, right? A holdover.
Yeah, your holdover car.
I'm good at those holdovers.
Yeah.
I remember I challenged myself. I was living in New Canaan, and I was driving all the way down to Pier 40, I think it was, down towards Tribeca in New York City. And my goal was to make it all the way into the city and all the way back out without touching the Rex, the range extender. And I did it one time. And my friend was traffic. When I hit traffic, I was so happy because then I could get a lot more range. And but yeah, no, that was a great car, and that was my second i3 because I had a Panda. I had a white one before that, which was great. But I know what you mean. Like it's just, you look at the car, it's got bicycle tires on it, and it doesn't have. You're not going to be taking that thing on a big road trip, right? So
no. So I mean, my whole thing was like, even though I don't really go very far, I usually stay within my bubble. But if I ever wanted to go outside my bubble, I couldn't, or it'd be a huge pain in the butt. I would have to stop I don't even know how many miles it got. I think it was 80 in total.
75, 80 miles on gas.
Yeah, and then I'd have to stop and do the quick fill up, and I mean, I guess it just got old.
So you got rid of that. I took that. So what did you do then? What did you get?
Nothing.
So you just were driving the Model 3.
We had the Model 3.
The smart car.
Yeah, so the smart car's lease ended, and so we ended up fully buying out the smart car.
Right.
And
well, because would Mercedes have taken that back? I'm not so sure. There were a couple of videos on that smart car where they might have said, you might be a little bit out of the...
Let's just say that it was out of the warranty.
It was out of warranty.
But I think they actually would have bought it back. But we've just decided, because how much the deal that Kyle got on it, I don't really remember the logistics behind it, but it really wasn't much of a difference just to buy it out. And we love that car. It's just been in the family since the beginning of time, and it's just our little dogs grew up in it. So I know. So
now you spend a little time without having, the smart car. You got the Model 3, the smart car. You're flipping around, and then you decided to do a search for your real, your sort of dream car that you really wanted, and there were so many different choices.
Yes.
And I must say that I love your choice. I really do. I love this car, and I'm very happy for you. But tell me, what made you get this? Not made you, but what brought you to the...
Persuaded me to...
Yeah. Did Kyle have anything to do with it? Just curious.
Honestly, no. It was, we had this car... We were actually going to buy this car from a viewer before we even moved out here, and it would have been $20,000 cheaper at that time.
Wait, when you say this car...
Not this, or an e-tron.
Oh, an e-tron, okay.
It was another e-tron. It was a Prestige as well.
Okay.
In great condition, that we were going to buy from a viewer that we borrowed the car for a little bit.
And the Prestige is the highest level trim, right? The one with the massaging seats.
Seats, yes.
Yes, that you have to have.
You really do.
Yeah,
I mean... It's just a couple $1,000 difference, and it makes just makes it.
Yes,
so,
I agree.
But I completely fell in love with that car, and it's just always been in the back of my mind. And eventually, we came around, and at that point, I mean, the ID4 was out, the Model Y was out. I mean, all of the Ioniq. I mean, everything. It was a great market, but my thing is with the dogs. I do a lot of rescue work, and the rescues that I work with for dogs are called Big Dogs, Huge Paws, and it is not a lie, they're huge. They're all over 100-pound dogs, so I needed something that was substantial enough to be able to hold those dogs, and along with our other two, I mean, they're 80-pound dogs. They're not small dogs either. And one of my big things was having good ventilation and airflow in the back.
Okay.
And I believe, honestly, I think this is the only car. I think the Ioniq has good vents. And does the Ioniq have side vents?
Ioniq has on the B pillars.
Right. Yes.
They have 2 vents there,
Right.
which is very good. Yes.
So that's what I was that was one of my things I was looking for in a car, is to have that.
Right.
And I mean, very fortunate that within what we do, I'm able to play around with every single car, and I don't fall in love with cars. I don't have a strong attachment with them, but something about the e-tron just really, it spoke to me, and it was just the only car that I wanted. It's probably the biggest SUV you could get on the market as of right now. And that was a huge thing for me. I don't care that much about range, so that wasn't a thing, and everybody was like...
So, yeah, tell me about that. Why do you not care about range? Because I would think a lot of people, when it comes to EVs, that's the #1 thing they care about, right?
Right.
Like, what if I run out of juice? What do I do?
Right. I mean, it's the same thing with the gas car. I've seen more gas cars on the side of the road that run out of gas than I've seen electric cars.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, there are a heck of a lot more gas
Right.
cars on the road as a percentage.
100%.
But there is a fear, an inherent range anxiety.
Well,
so let's talk about that. What does that mean to you?
To me, it means nothing. I mean, you guys think Kyle pushes the limits with the cars. I'm actually 10 times worse.
Really?
Because I'm not as aware of the wind conditions and all that stuff.
By the way, this is beautiful. Look at the flowers they have out at Colorado State University here.
Yeah.
I guess all the freshmen must be arriving shortly.
They are. Freshman orientation.
Freshman orientation?
Yep.
Wow, is that just beautiful?
They're coming in.
I want to go over there tomorrow and walk around with Bailey.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we're talking range anxiety. Sorry about that.
So yeah, I mean, just living with Kyle for as long as I have, and the amount of road trips that I've been on, it really is just not a thing for me. In the end, you're able to really calculate how far you're gonna go. I mean, there's a little math needed to be able to do it, but like I said, I don't really travel that much, and when we do go on long road trips, usually Kyle's driving and has control in his head over everything and anything that's going to possibly go on. But within this car, I think it's around 200 miles, but it's a thirsty girl. So if you're road tripping with her, I think you probably get around 180. But the caveat behind that is that its charging curve stays at a flat 150 kilowatts up until like 85%, which when you're road tripping, you shouldn't be sitting at a charger till you get to 100% anyways.
Right.
So that's why I was okay with such a low range, because I knew I could go to a charger, sit there for 15-20 minutes, which I'm used to. And honestly, when I compare it to the Model 3 and doing road trips, I don't feel as though I'm sitting there and waiting any longer.
Now, does this car have plug-in charge? So in other words, when you go to if you go to plug into the Tesla, you just plug it in and it charges, right?
No, it does not.
This car does not. So
no.
How do you are you okay with the apps and all that? How do you figure them all out?
Yeah, there's a ton of them, which is annoying. That is my biggest gripe with everything, is why can't everything just kind of be cohesive and together?
Right.
But I mean, mainly the majority, if I'm DC fast charging, I'm doing it on Electrify America. So I just have that app. I mean, Kyle, it's pretty self-explanatory in the end, and of course I've seen Kyle do it a bunch of times, and he's taught me. And just when I get there, I just swipe in and plug it in and just put on my massaging seats and
it has EA been pretty reliable for you? I mean, you don't have no? So, you know, I will say they've been better for me recently.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah.
So I just recently took a big road trip, not big, but a road trip in the Rivian for a dog transport, and the charging was horrendous. The heat within the car, the chargers was just awful. I mean, we would be all the way up to like 150, maybe 200 kilowatts, and then it dipped down to as low as 4 kilowatts. And there was no other station that was working at that point.
Oh, wow.
But luckily, at that point, we still had enough charge to be able to make it to the next charger.
Right.
But if we didn't, we would have been sitting there for hours.
Oh, boy.
So, no, I don't find them extremely reliable, but I think it's totally usable. I'm not as bothered by it.
Now, when you're in a situation like that, do you use PlugShare as an example to see if there are any other charging stations around other than Electrify America? Or
yeah, I will, but I was out in the middle of Nebraska, so there wasn't.
right.
There's just
Did you even have internet? We're talking about DC fast charging here, and maybe there's no internet. I don't know.
Yeah, so like Kyle, like a lot of people have kind of asked, well, why haven't I used this car on the transport? And it's because the stretches are so large that if there is a large amount of wind or anything like that, this car is not going to make it. And if there is a problem with any of the chargers, I would be stranded.
Interesting. So wind, you have to think about wind, temperature, elevation, all these different things before you take, and you've got a number of different options in the driveway, so depending on where you're going to go, you're going to decide which car you're going to take, right?
Yeah, I do that. Like, it's kind of a subconscious thing, but I did that yesterday when I had to pick up a dog from the shelter, and that was because Kyle was like, oh, well, why don't you take your e-tron? Well, there wasn't, and there's kind of like bigger stretches and stuff like that, and so I ended up not just wanting to take the Rivian, and so yeah, that's what I did. I mean, this is just such a lifestyle that not a lot of people can really say that they're able to live.
Right.
But
so now this car, daily driving though, you've got a setup at home where you're able to plug in.
Right.
And the amount of driving that you do when you're just around town, tell me about range anxiety with respect to that.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
I mean,
okay.
We don't live in a big city. I mean, even if we did live in Denver or anything like that, there would be no problem, because who's going to be commuting throughout a city for like 100 miles plus a day? I mean, that's just not going to happen. Right. And we have charging at home, and we also have charging at the office. So we have, I mean, I have plenty of options. I never have felt range anxiety, or to the point where I'm just like, okay, I really don't think I'm gonna make it. I've never really experienced that. There's always an outlet somewhere.
So, right, no, that's true, and there are plenty. I found one at remember the ice machine?
Right, exactly.
Right? And everyone was giving me like garbage about that, but you know,
it drives algorithms.
Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do when your back's up against the wall. So, but so tell me about your Audi. This is one beautiful car. I drove it today. Actually, I think I drove it.
Do you have your massaging seats on first?
I don't.
Yeah, we gotta put them on.
How do I put them on?
So if you put your hand right beside your thigh, you'll feel a button. There's a little button in the middle. Okay. You want to press that button in the middle.
All right, button in the middle.
Yeah. So right by the edge of the seat. Yep, there you go.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can choose all the different ones you want. I mean,
oh, wow.
I just absolutely love this car, and so I don't think I ever really explained kind of why I chose this over a Model Y, over an ID4, over all of those cars.
Because you could have gotten one of those new,
brand new,
versus this is a very expensive car, right? For the same money. So,
yeah, I mean, it was a huge waiver thing, and I mean, here comes the comments. I don't care for Teslas. I really don't.
Oh, no, that's fine.
I don't think they're made well. I think they're a great first EV car. if you're new to having an EV, then that works amazing. The car works as needed and all that stuff. But in the end, it's not a well-made car.
Well, here's one thing I would say. The build quality has gotten better over the years. Like, for example, like the 2013, remember that P85 Plus I had, that Model S? That thing, when you went down the road, it was a rattle trap. And I just recently bought this 2018 Model S 100D, and that's pretty tight. It's good. But the thing, you know, when I got in your car, was it this morning? I went out to get breakfast, and I took your car. Hope you don't mind. I saw the keys, and I was like, I'm taking the e-tron, the big boy, and the big girl. I'm sorry. Yes. Hey, there's an e-tron. Look at that, black, just like this one.
And they're blacked out, so I want to black it out. So that's a side note. That's going to be happening pretty soon.
Oh yeah, that does look pretty cool.
It looks very good.
But you know, I got in the car, and the Germans, they just know how to build interiors.
It just feels so good.
It's so premium, right? As Ferris Bueller used to say, so choice. You know, right? So it's just at a different level of quality in the craftsmanship and the materials, and that's one thing that Audi's been doing for years. Right.
And that's something that I've never experienced. I've never had a car like this, and I was like, if I'm gonna be spending my money on something and putting I wanted something that I knew was well built and that, I mean, just kind of trusted the brand. I mean, within Tesla, I mean, anytime that we've tried to get them fixed, it's been horrendous. Yeah. And I didn't want to go through that. Granted, if I have to fix this car, it'd be very expensive, but it has full warranty on it, I think, for the next 4 years or so.
So you bought, this was a certified pre-owned, which is great.
Which was very important to us.
Right, no, and that's critical. And so you do have the peace of mind that if something does go wrong, then you've got it. And how many miles? You got 22,000 miles on it. So you bought it with obviously under 20,000 miles.
Yeah, I think it was around 16 or 17. Yeah.
Okay. So what are your top 3 favorite things about the Audi e-tron?
I love the size of it's one thing. I love just how it's built and how it feels. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. It's just there's
turning radius is good in parking lots and all that. Is it?
Yeah. I mean, for the size of it, it's a bigger car. And actually, the first time my sister took it out, she actually curved the wheel.
Oh
because she didn't take the turn wide enough, and she didn't quite realize. I mean, this is a big car, and that was one thing I was just really looking for, was a bigger SUV that sits up nice and high. And this car is just so comfortable to drive. I mean, you can never sit in this car and say, oh, I'm not comfortable. Right. I mean, if you do, then you probably need to go to a chiropractor. It's on you. It's not the car. Yeah. But I honestly, I really love this car, and I can see it staying around for a long, long time, as long as Kyle will let me keep it for a long time. Before he has more ideas.
Well, it's starting to rain here, so
it is.
So I have one last question for you. If, let's just say, one of the Connor boys were to get to you and say, Alyssa, it's time to get something else. Yep. Not to say that anyone is going to try to say that.
I already know what I would want.
But what? Yeah, that's my question.
It would be the Macan.
The Macan.
Hands down, the Macan EV is what I would want. I mean, I've just fallen in love with having a nice premium car, and it's nice to have in the family for the road tripping. And I mean, I don't know, once you go German, you just...
Yeah, I want to see the specs on that car, and I've seen the spy shots, and you know, Kathy, my wife, just sold her gas-powered Macan and got the GV60, and she's only driven it one time. She was home briefly. I've been driving that thing as my daily driver around, but yeah, that's interesting. I did not know that. Your head is into the Macan.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Hey, wait, I got to call Kyle first. Hold on one second. I just got to make a quick call. No, I'm just kidding. But, well, listen, Alyssa, this is an interesting EV journey, and what my prediction is that your EV journey is just beginning.
Oh yeah.
We're in the very early innings of this baseball game.
Yeah.
And
we 100% are, and I mean, it's fun. I do enjoy owning and having all these different cars, but in the end, I mean, I fall in love. This is my girl Angie.
No.
I love her.
Oh, that's her name?
Her name is actually
Angie.
Yeah.
She was. I did not know she had a name, Angie.
Well, it's Angela. That is just awful sounding. Oh my god. On that note, yeah, her name is Angie.
Okay.
Angela, but Angie for short. She usually goes by Angie. And yeah, I really love this car. And
well, listen, Alyssa, I just want to say I'm very proud of all the hard work that you and Kyle do.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not realize what goes into making these videos and the editing.
Not a lot of glitz and glamour that people think.
And I will tell you, I want to also thank you for the late night calls that you've taken when I call you up, because I've learned how to do my own editing now. And
yeah, because I didn't want to do it.
and then when you don't answer your phone, you know what I do? I go onto YouTube.
Yep.
And I look up, okay, how do I do it? And but listen, congratulations on your car. I know you've had it for a little while. It's good to check in with you. It's good to learn your story and hear your story.
Yeah, that's
and
my
I wish
story.
you nothing but the best of luck with Angie.
Yes.
And so anyway, thank you everyone for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye guys.
Bye bye.